in the 60s, it was the time of civil rights. And I went to San Francisco State, and I was active with SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and we raised money to support SNCC. And then in the summer of '64, the Mississippi Summer Project came up. And my father was also supportive of SNCC. And he was supportive of my going because he always felt badly about the fact that he didn't go to Spain with the Abraham Lincoln Brigade for the Spanish Civil War. So having that, he encouraged me to go. And it was something to do. I mean, it was, it was going to be in the summer between semesters. And the night before we went, Betty was invited over for dinner. And that's when she gave me her pearl necklace that Mel had given to her when they got married. And that meant so much to me. And I wore it, and I wore it the entire time. And then we left, and I went to the training session in Oxford, Ohio. And it was a week training session, and this was the end of June. And while we were there, the 3 Mississippi civil rights workers disappeared: Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. And we were told that this had happened, that they had disappeared, although it took a while before they actually found their remains. And so all of the volunteers were encouraged to call their families and discuss whether they should really go or not. And my sisters remember pleading with me not to go. But for me, having decided to go, I could never live with myself having chickened out. That just made the decision I was gonna go. So I ended up in Canton, Mississippi, and the summer project had 3 parts. It had voter registration, community centers, and freedom schools. And because I was planning to be a teacher, I was in the freedom school. And we were put up in the home of local people. And Joanne Oyman, who is a woman who was also in the freedom school, she and I stayed with Mrs. Hattie Bell in her home. And we went to the freedom school every day. I did not leave the Black community. I didn't have any dealings downtown or anything. I just stayed where I was until it was time to leave. We had a wonderful reception. People were very happy to see us. My experience there was good. In the Freedom School, we were supplementing the education that the kids were getting, mostly with Black history and about knowing your rights and things like that. And then when it was over, I went from Mississippi to DC, where I had an aunt and uncle, and stayed with them for a few days, and then went to St. Louis, stayed with another aunt and uncle, and then I came home and returned Betty's necklace to her. And there was a 50-year reunion for Mississippi Summer, which I went to, and met up with Peter Pritz and Joanne Oyman, who I had worked with in Canton. And I had always felt a certain amount of guilt about leaving the people in Mississippi, because I could then go home and continue with my life. But when I went back for the 50th reunion, I met Vicki McNeil. And she's not somebody who I had known when I was there the first time, but she had been a child, and her family had put up, well, actually the story was that her mother was working, and Vicki was taking care of her younger siblings, and some civil rights workers came and were looking for a place to stay. And so Vicki agreed to let them stay, and her mother was furious. But her mother learned to love them very much and was happy that they were there. Well, Vicki wanted to be a police officer, and her mother told her that no, that's not a possibility. But the civil rights workers said, yes, you know, you can grow up to be a civil rights police officer. So she went to Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, and she did become a police officer. And in fact, she was the police chief of Canton, Mississippi from, I think it was 2009 to 2013. So having heard her story made me feel much better about the impact that we had had on the people that we had met in Mississippi. And I was very fortunate to be able to visit Betty a number of times after she retired at the age of 100, and had some wonderful visits with her. And she holds a very special place in my heart.